not been responding, twin. These forcing my hand, bruh. Chrisean, be no toes. Chrisean, be no toes in front of the whole world. There's nothing else to talk about. Give me my money. Next time I go wash your face, I just woke up. It's 2:58 in the morning. I'm waking up off this shit. I don't be worried about it because I be in the house out high as count millions of dollars. This the type of shit I gotta wake up to. Yo, bitch, toes, nothing you can say to me. My shit is facts. Your shit is cap. That's why you gotta pay me. Toes, gang. What the f else? What are we talking about? What is we talking about, gang? Feet. Leave me alone, man. Write my check. Soulja Boy, 130,000. Or give it to my baby mama. However you want to do it, just run the money, gang. Cause all this internet shit you got going on, I'm smacking the f out y'all little niggas.
Nobody warned the internet this was coming, and nobody put up caution tape before Soulja Boy detonated his entire timeline. What started as a goofy, borderline ridiculous Chrisean rock toe joke spiraled into a celebrity meltdown so loud it felt like someone pulled the fire alarm inside hip-hop culture itself. 1 minute it was memes and laughs. The next minute Soulja Boy was online moving like he just uncovered a secret nobody was supposed to touch. This wasn't casual outrage. This was pure ignition. Because this wasn't a diss track rollout or a slick tweet designed for engagement farming. This was Soulja Boy snapping with the energy of someone who felt disrespected on a personal level, dragging Blueface, DDG, and Rich the Kid straight into the blast radius. His voice, his tone, and his timing made it clear this wasn't a joke to him, even if the internet treated it like one. And that disconnect is exactly where chaos thrives. The wildest part is how fast everything flipped. A random rumor turned into a public spectacle, friendships started looking suspicious, and jokes suddenly felt like evidence. Soulja Boy wasn't just talking, he was accusing, clowning, and exposing energy that made everyone involved look uncomfortable. It was less hip-hop beef and more reality TV with a microphone. And once Soulja Boy started going off, there was no rewind button. Every word added fuel. Every reaction made it worse. And the internet leaned in because scandals like this don't whisper. They scream, they spiral, and they always leave somebody embarrassed when the smoke clears. The internet didn't trip into this mess by accident. It was dragged here kicking and screaming by a rumor so dumb it somehow became radioactive. A joke about Chrisean rock's toe floated around like harmless smoke. The kind of nonsense social media cooks up when boredom meets clout hunger. But the second that joke brushed up against real names and real egos, the temperature changed. Suddenly, laughter turned into side eyes, timelines filled with speculation, and people started asking the dangerous question celebrities hate most: who's really behind this? At the center of the storm stood Soulja Boy, a man who treats the internet like a battleground and silence like a personal insult. When Soulja Boy feels played, he doesn't draft a calm response or wait for facts to settle. He reacts in real time, loud, chaotic, and reckless enough to make everyone else wish the Wi-Fi would just go out. So when the toe jokes kept circulating, and names like Blueface, DDG, and Rich the Kid got dragged into the conversation, it wasn't a matter of if he'd respond. It was a countdown to explosion. The background tension made everything worse. Chrisean Rock has lived her life under a microscope, with every move turned into content and every flaw exaggerated for entertainment. Her relationship history, her family drama, and her public image have all been chewed up and recycled by the internet so many times that people forget there's a human involved. That context matters. Because when jokes stop being jokes and start feeling like public humiliation, someone is always going to snap. In this case, it wasn't even Chrisean who fired the first shot. It was Soulja Boy taking offense on a level that caught everyone off guard. Then there's Blueface, a walking controversy magnet whose name alone can turn a whisper into a trending topic. Blueface doesn't have to say much for people to assume chaos follows him, and that reputation did him no favors here. Even without clear proof of involvement, his name being attached to the rumor was enough to light the fuse. In internet logic, association equals guilt, and guilt equals entertainment. That's how narratives get built overnight without anyone stopping to check the blueprint. The same energy swallowed DDG and Rich the Kid, two artists who didn't ask to be cast as villains in a toe-based saga but ended up there anyway. Once their names appeared in the same sentence as the rumor, it didn't matter what they actually did. The internet had already written the script. Screenshots became receipts. Jokes became evidence, and silence became confirmation. It was the perfect recipe for misunderstanding to mutate into full-blown scandal. Soulja Boy watched all of this unfold with the patience of a lit match. At first, it looked like he might ignore it, letting the noise burn itself out. But then, the comments kept coming, the memes got nastier, and the jokes crossed from absurd into disrespectful. That's when the tone shifted. His response wasn't measured or diplomatic, it was raw, impulsive, and dripping with the kind of anger that tells you this hit a nerve. He wasn't defending a rumor, he was defending pride. When Soulja Boy finally went off, it didn't feel rehearsed. It sounded like frustration that had been simmering and finally boiled over. He accused, mocked, and dragged names through the mud with the confidence of someone who believed he was speaking truth, or at least his version of it. The internet ate it up because outrage is the most addictive content there is. Every clip got replayed, every word dissected, and every insult turned into a headline. What made it more chaotic was the timing. This didn't happen during a music release or a planned rollout. There was no obvious motive beyond emotion, which made it feel authentic and therefore more dangerous. Fans started picking sides, haters poured gasoline on the fire, and casual observers suddenly felt invested in a scandal they didn't even understand. It was messy, loud, and impossible to ignore. Behind the sarcasm and yelling, there was a deeper layer that people missed. Soulja Boy wasn't just angry about a joke. He was angry about disrespect in an industry where image is currency. Being laughed at, even indirectly, can feel like being robbed in public. That's why his reaction felt so extreme. In his mind, this wasn't petty internet nonsense. It was a line being crossed. And he responded the only way he knows how, by making the situation so uncomfortable that nobody could laugh anymore. The first reactions only made things worse. Some people laughed it off, treating the rant like entertainment. Others defended Soulja Boy, saying the jokes went too far. And then there were those who twisted his words into something darker, suggesting hidden beefs and secret grudges. The narrative ballooned, stretching beyond the original rumor into something unrecognizable. Suddenly, this wasn't about a toe. It was about loyalty, respect, and who gets to clown who without consequences. As the noise grew, the tension thickened. Blueface's silence was read as guilt by some and indifference by others. DDG's name trended for reasons completely unrelated to his work. Rich the Kid caught stray insults from people who barely knew why he was involved. Everyone was reacting to fragments of information, half-heard rants, and out-of-context clips. It was chaos built on assumptions, and Soulja Boy stood at the center like a conductor waving his arms while the orchestra spiraled out of control. By the time the dust should have settled, it had only just begun to rise. The scandal had evolved from a stupid joke into a public showdown fueled by ego and amplified by social media. Soulja Boy wasn't backing down, the others weren't stepping forward, and the internet smelled blood. And when the internet smells blood, it doesn't stop watching. It waits for the next move, the next outburst, and the next moment where everything gets even messier. That's where things stood, balanced on a knife's edge, with reputations wobbling and tempers flaring. What started as internet humor had transformed into a test of pride, influence, and who really controls the narrative when jokes turn into weapons. And if this was only the beginning, the fallout promised to be louder, uglier, and far more revealing than anyone expected once Soulja Boy's rant hit the internet. The situation stopped being a rumor and officially became a spectacle. This is the phase where logic packs its bags and entertainment takes the wheel. Clips of his outburst spread faster than context could keep up. Chopped into bite-sized chaos designed to travel across timelines, every platform turned into a courtroom with no judge, no rules, and an audience that already decided somebody was guilty. And the louder Soulja Boy got, the more the internet leaned forward like it was watching the season finale of a reality show nobody wanted to admit they loved. The memes arrived almost immediately. Because nothing dilutes seriousness faster than jokes with captions. People took screenshots, froze the wildest facial expressions, and slapped sarcastic text on top like it was performance art. The scandal stopped being about what was said and became about how funny it looked when it was said. That's the cruel magic of the internet. It can turn rage into comedy in seconds. Soulja Boy's anger became content, and content became currency. And suddenly everyone was cashing in on a moment that was never meant to be funny, thought celebrity. Reactions poured gasoline on the fire without even trying. Some artists laughed it off publicly, others sat-tweeted like cowards afraid to say names, and a few stayed suspiciously quiet. Which only made the internet assume they were hiding something. Silence, in moments like this, is never neutral. It's treated like a confession written in invisible ink. Fans dissected every post, every emoji, every like, trying to decode hidden meanings like they were reading ancient scrolls instead of Instagram stories. What made this stage of the scandal so dangerous was how fast the narrative kept mutating. One version said Soulja Boy was overreacting to a harmless joke. Another painted him as the only one brave enough to call out disrespect. A darker version suggested there were private conversations and off-camera moments nobody had seen. Yet, each theory sounded convincing enough to survive a scroll or two. And that was all it took. Truth became optional, and entertainment became mandatory. The comparisons got wilder by the hour. People started saying this mess made classic rap beefs look organized, like comparing a bar fight to a chess tournament. Others joked that this was hip-hop's version of a soap opera, complete with villains, plot twists, and cliffhangers. Someone even compared the entire saga to a group chat gone wrong. Except the group chat had millions of spectators and zero delete button. Every analogy pushed the story further from reality and deeper into absurdity. Soulja Boy, instead of cooling down, leaned into the moment like someone who realized the spotlight wasn't leaving anytime soon. Every additional comment felt like another episode dropping without warning. He doubled down, added spice, and spoke with the confidence of someone who knew the internet thrives on escalation. This wasn't damage control. This was controlled demolition. And the more he talked, the more people questioned whether this was pure emotion or a calculated move to dominate the conversation. Meanwhile, the other names caught in the storm became characters instead of people. Fans projected motives onto them, rewriting their past actions to fit the current storyline. Old interviews resurfaced, unrelated jokes were reframed as foreshadowing, and random moments were stitched together into conspiracy collages. It was like watching strangers build a puzzle with pieces from different boxes, forcing them together until it looked complete enough to believe. Once that happens, correcting the story becomes almost impossible. Public outrage reached the stage where everyone had an opinion, even if they didn't know what the original joke was anymore. Some people argued about respect, others about clout, chasing, and a loud group insisted this was all fake drama engineered for attention. The irony is that all three arguments could exist at the same time. That's the beauty and the horror of internet scandals. They don't need to make sense to survive. They just need enough noise to drown out doubt. Brands and media pages jumped into carefully, like kids poking a wasp nest with a stick. Headlines used dramatic language. Reaction videos popped up overnight, and commentary channels treated every development like breaking news, the scandal became self-sustaining. Feeding off reactions to reactions, at that point, it no longer mattered who started it. What mattered was who could survive it without looking ridiculous. When the dust settled. As the jokes grew louder, the underlying tension grew heavier. People started asking uncomfortable questions about boundaries, about when humor turns into humiliation, and about who really benefits when personal moments become public punchlines. Those questions rarely get answered in real time, but they linger, adding weight to the laughter. Soulja Boy's anger began to look less like random chaos and more like a symptom of a culture that rewards disrespect as long as it's entertaining. By the end of this phase, the scandal had reached full saturation. You couldn't scroll without seeing a reference, a joke, or a hot take. Everyone felt informed, even though nobody had the full story. The internet had already crowned winners and losers, rewritten intentions, and turned a bizarre rumor into a defining moment. And just when it seemed like it couldn't get any louder, the consequences started lining up quietly in the background, waiting for their turn to speak. By the time the noise began to fade, the damage was already done, and that's the part nobody jokes about when the memes stopped trending. What lingered after the laughter was a thick cloud of awkwardness hanging over everyone involved. The kind that doesn't disappear just because the internet finds a new distraction. Reputations don't reset as easily as timelines do, and this scandal left fingerprints that couldn't be wiped away with silence. Even the people who tried to laugh it off knew something had shifted. Soulja Boy emerged from the chaos louder, but also more exposed. On one hand, he reminded everyone why ignoring him online is never an option, because he knows how to hijack attention and keep it hostage. On the other hand, the rant locked him into a narrative where emotion replaced strategy. And critics wasted no time pointing that out. Some fans praised him for speaking his mind without filters, while others questioned whether he let a ridiculous situation drag him into unnecessary embarrassment. Both sides agreed on one thing: he made it impossible to pretend that this never happened. For Blueface, the aftermath felt like another chapter in a long-running saga where controversy follows him whether he invites it or not. Even without clear statements or direct involvement, his name staying attached to the scandal reinforced the idea that chaos is his permanent shadow. Silence didn't clear him. It froze him in place while people filled in the blanks with assumptions. That's the curse of a reputation built on unpredictability, because every rumor sounds believable whether it's true or not. DDG and Rich the Kid faced a different kind of fallout. The kind that comes from being collateral damage in someone else's explosion. Their involvement became a footnote, but footnotes still get read. Fans question their judgment, critics mock their proximity to drama, and casual observers lump them into a story they never controlled. It wasn't career-ending, but it was inconvenient, and in the entertainment world, inconvenience can snowball if left unchecked. The most telling consequence was how quickly relationships started to look fragile. Collaborations people once assumed were inevitable suddenly felt unlikely. Public friendliness cooled into distance, and the unspoken rule of protecting each other's image cracked under pressure. When jokes turn into accusations, trust becomes optional. Even if private conversations smooth things over, the public version of events had already rewritten dynamics in a way nobody could fully undo. Public perception hardened in strange ways. Some viewers became desensitized, treating the entire scandal as another example of celebrities behaving badly online. Others took sides with surprising intensity, defending their favorites like personal friends. That divide mattered, because it showed how deeply audiences invest in narratives even when the facts are blurry. Once people choose a side, evidence stops being information and starts being ammunition. The industry watched quietly, taking notes without commenting. Labels, promoters, and collaborators don't react publicly to this kind of chaos, but they remember it. They remember who can't ignore bait, who escalates instead of diffuses, and who turns minor nonsense into major spectacles. Those memories don't trend, but they influence decisions behind closed doors. That's the invisible cost of internet. Blow-ups, the kind that doesn't show up in headlines but shapes careers over time. Ironically, the scandal also highlighted how disposable outrage has become. Within days, attention drifted elsewhere, proving that even the loudest drama has an expiration date. But expiration doesn't mean erasure. Clips remain searchable, quotes stay archived, and moments resurface whenever someone wants to reopen old wounds. This wasn't a one-day event. It was a bookmark in everyone's online history. What made this situation especially revealing was how something so absurd exposed real vulnerabilities. A joke about a toe spiraled into questions about respect, ego, and the constant pressure to perform online. It showed how quickly humor can weaponize itself when millions of eyes are watching, and how fame turns trivial moments into defining ones. Nobody involved planned for that outcome, but planning doesn't matter once momentum takes over. As the dust settled, the scandal left behind a lesson nobody asked for. In an era where attention is currency, reactions are investments, and silence is interpreted as guilt, every move carries weight. Soulja Boy reminded the world that emotion still rules the internet, while the others learned that proximity to chaos can stain even the quietest presence. The audience, as always, walked away entertained but unchanged, ready for the next spectacle. And that's the most unsettling part. This wasn't the end of anything. It was a preview, another argument, another rumor, another live stream will eventually ignite the same cycle all over again. The names might change, the jokes might be different, but the formula stays the same. Loud reactions, viral outrage, short memories, and the long consequences. So while the timelines moved on and the jokes lost their punch, the story didn't really end. It just paused, waiting for the next moment when someone says too much, reacts too fast, or forgets how unforgiving the internet can be. Because scandals don't disappear, they stack up. And when the next one hits, this toe-based chaos will resurface as proof that even the smallest spark can burn everything down when ego, fame, and boredom collide. And if you made it this far, congratulations, because you just survived another episode of Celebrity Chaos, where a joke turned into a meltdown and a meltdown turned into a full-blown internet crime scene. This is exactly why you can't look away, because one careless comment, one reckless rant, and suddenly everyone's reputation is doing backflips in public. If this mess taught us anything, it's that the internet never sleeps, never forgets, and definitely never forgets screenshots. Now don't just sit there acting brand new like this didn't entertain you. Smash that like button like it owes you money. Slap it with zero remorse, because the algorithm only respects violence. Drop a comment and tell me who you think went too far, who played it smart, and who should have logged out and touched grass before pressing record. I want theories, hot takes, wild guesses, and unfiltered opinions. Because silence is how scandals get rewritten by louder people. And if you're not subscribed yet, fix that immediately. Hit subscribe like you're locking the door before chaos breaks in. Because this channel doesn't wait for drama to cool off. We catch it while it's still smoking. New scandals, new explosions, new celebrity meltdowns drop constantly, and if you blink, you miss a whole season of nonsense unfolding in real time. Share this video with that friend who swears they hate celebrity drama but somehow knows every detail anyway. You know the one. Let them pretend they're above it while they watch every second. Because whether it's a rant, a rumor, or a ridiculous scandal that should have never existed, you already know it's going to get messy. And when the next meltdown hits, when another celebrity forgets the internet is forever, remember where you heard it first. This isn't just commentary. This is chaos coverage. Welcome to Scandal Spark, where the tea is always hot, the takes are always reckless, and the drama never takes a day off.